Steven Hughes turned into just doing his task, a job he'd completed endless times earlier than.
New details on the shooting death of a local tow truck driver, Steven Hughes.
We were able to obtain
But on one precise nighttime in June 2024, things took a sad flip that no person should have seen coming. New information has emerged, and that they paint a heartbreaking picture of a person who misplaced his lifestyles sincerely for doing his job. Let's walk through the events of that fateful night and try to understand how a repossession brought about a deadly capturing. The question is, could it have been averted? Steven Hughes wasn't simply any other tow truck driving force. He became a father, a son, a community member, a person who worked tough to provide for his circle of relatives. At 46, he became regarded in his Lexington, South Carolina network as a person who may want to cope with hard situations with professionalism. Working in the towing and repossession business isn't easy. It's a high-stakes task, frequently regarding indignant vehicle proprietors disappointed about dropping their motors. Despite these challenges, Steven had continually managed to navigate the dangers of his profession without incident until that fateful night. Hughes was doing this activity for years. Repossessing automobiles became in no way fun, but it was important work, and Steven did what he needed to do to aid his family. His determination and hard-working nature made him a dependable worker, a characteristic his own family and pals greatly in demand. His demise, therefore, left a huge hollow inside the lives of his loved ones and his network. They never notioned he'd be taken far from them so quickly, and in reality, not at the same time as at the job. June 12, 2024, an everyday night, grew to become extraordinary for all the wrong reasons. Steven Hughes changed out on Fairmont Drive in Columbia, South Carolina, repossessing a vehicle. It turned into the middle of the night simply after 2 a.m., a time while most of the sector was fast asleep. But for Steven, it becomes some other workday, every other car to tow.
I think justice would be life. I mean, you took my dad's life.
Unfortunately, what started as ordinary quickly spiraled into violence. The police have been known as to the scene rapidly after reports of gunfire. When officials arrived, they observed Steven slumped in the motive force's seat of his tow truck. The door of the truck was shot more than one instances, and witnesses claimed to have seen a car rushing far from the scene.
Now, it was a 46-year-old man who was murdered doing his job in the early...
Steven was still alive when assist arrived, but in spite of being rushed to the health facility, he tragically succumbed to his injuries. A single gunshot wound had taken his lifestyles. For folks that knew him, the information was devastating. How ought to something like this appear all through what become imagined to be a recurring repossession? Everyone wanted answers. When the first responders arrived on Fairmont Drive, the scene they encountered was chilling. Steven's tow truck became nevertheless there, its lighting fixtures flashing in the darkish. The door had a couple of bullet holes, a clear indication that whoever had fired at Steven did so with the purpose to kill. Steven himself changed into discovered, slumped in the driver's seat, barely clinging to life. Witnesses quick got here forward, reporting that they had seen a vehicle speeding far from the scene shortly after the photographs had been fired.
The other one went through some bottles, busted them, leaked everywhere.
This element helped the police piece together what had occurred.
Would be life. I mean, you took my dad's life.
However, it nevertheless left many questions unanswered. Why was Steven focused? Was this genuinely a case of anger boiling over at some stage in a repossession, or changed into there more to the story? As the investigation got underway, it became clear that this was no random act of violence, it became a deliberate assault. Fairmont Drive, usually a quiet neighborhood, have become the backdrop for a tragedy that would shake the complete community. For Steven's family and friends, it was tough to just accept that an activity he had carried out so regularly before had brought about his loss of life. So, what may want to have caused any such violent confrontation? As the investigation opened up, the police found out that two siblings, Raheem and Essence Jackson, were involved. It seems that Steven became within the process of repossessing their car. Emotions often run excessive all through repossessions, and this one took a lethal flip. Rahim, just 2 decades old, and his 12 months antique sister Essence, each were livid on the concept of losing their car. Unfortunately, that anger became a not possible act of violence. Have you ever notioned approximately the type of stress repossession workers face? Their job isn't pretty much towing motors, it's about navigating hectic situations in which feelings can expand in seconds. Not long after the taking pictures, police arrested Rahim Jackson and charged him with murder and ownership of a firearm at some point of a violent crime. His sister, Essence, changed into arrested days later and charged as a co-conspirator. She wasn't present when Rahim pulled the cause, however investigators consider she performed a huge function in making plans the assault. Both siblings at the moment are in custody on the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center without a bond set. They face the opportunity of spending their lives in the back of bars. Can you imagine being a 19 or 20-year antique going through prices that might imply lifestyles in jail? The entire community is looking this case spread, and the anxiety inside the court docket is palpable. Steven's circle of relatives is devastated. His mum, Monica Hughes, can't wrap her head around the reality that her son's lifestyles turned into takens so abruptly. She and Steven's daughter Stephanie have been attending every court docket listening to, wearing "Justice for Steven" t-shirts. They've made it clear that they want to look Rahim and Essence serve existent sentences for what they did. Monica, heartbroken, stated, "You took my son's life, and also you deserve to spend your lifestyles in the back of bars." Stephanie echoed her grandmother's sentiments, declaring that nothing brief of lifestyles in prison would be justice for her father. The family's pain is raw, and their determination to look justice performed is unwavering. The news of Steven's loss of life hit the area people difficult. Friends, buddies, or even individuals who didn't understand him individually have come forward to express their condolences. The reality that this happened inside the center of a repossession process has left many humans feeling uneasy. Tow truck drivers especially have voiced worries about protection as they face those forms of confrontations extra frequently than maximum humans realize. A candlelight vigil became held for Steven, with fellow tow truck drivers lining up their trucks in solidarity. It was a sobering reminder of the risks those employees take every day. The question is, what can be finished to protect tow truck drivers from this type of senseless violence? As of now, Rahim and Essence Jackson continue to be behind bars, anticipating trial. Their legal professionals have not begun to make a public announcement, and it's doubtful what kind of protection they'll mount. The trial is predicted to draw quite a few interest, with the community and Steven's family searching for justice. For them, justice means life sentences for both Rahim and Essence. But as with all felony case, the outcome is some distance from certain. The investigation is ongoing, and extra details may additionally end up the case proceeds. The court hearings are simply starting, and there's no telling how long this procedure will take, but one aspect is for positive. Steven's family will be there every step of the manner, fighting for justice. Steven's dying has delivered interest to a larger problem: tow truck driver safety. Repossessions are inherently volatile. People are disappointed, approximately losing their motors, and emotions can flare up quick. In Steven's case, that emotion became deadly. Sadly, he's now not the primary tow truck driver to face violence on the activity, and except something modifications, he won't be the ultimate. Statistics display that tow truck drivers are regularly in risky situations, with many dealing with threats of violence or actual damage. So what can be accomplished to defend them? Should there be greater training, better protection protocols? This tragedy has sparked a verbal exchange about what needs to trade in the industry to keep human beings like Steven secure. Steven Hughes turned into simply doing his activity. He wasn't seeking out problem. But that night time on Fairmont Drive, trouble observed him. His death became tragic, mindless, and has left a family all the time changed. Now, as his loved ones fight for justice, the rest people are left to wonder how things went so incorrect. If you discovered this story as heartbreaking as we did, please don't neglect to comment beneath and percentage your mind. How are we able to save you tragedies like this within the future? What adjustments do you suspect want to manifest? Also ensure to like, share, and enroll in our channel for extra updates on this example and other important testimonies. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never omit a new video. Let's hold this conversation going and make sure Steven Hughes' death become not in vain.